Good evening, everybody. How are you doing today? This is Yusuf Chaudhry. Once again, tuning in from San Antonio, Texas. All right, let's see who we got here today. All right, folks, just give me one more minute here. Then we can start with the subject for today. Okay, we got a few more minutes and we'll start. Okay, so the first thing I want to share some insight. So this is a prospect that basically called me today a few minutes ago where they had a situation where a website was built by a company for quite some time, and unfortunately they couldn't keep track of the hosting and the payment plan and whatnot. So the hosting got expired, the domain got expired several months ago, and the hosting got expired. So what happened typically, if you are paying for the web hosting and for the domain name, once it gets expired, some companies, what happens, if your domain name gets expired, okay, and if you don't catch it quickly because somebody else can grab that domain and try to sell it back to you or own it, and that can become some sort of legal battle right there, okay. The other thing, some companies like GoDaddy, what happens when your domain gets expired and you don't renew it, they basically hold it and they try to auction it off to you or somebody else, right? So those are the situations you have to be very careful. So that's why you need to make sure that when you have a hosting service, whether it's for the domain name provider or the web hosting, you got to make sure that it's best to keep them automatically updated, or the payment has to go through automatically, whether every year or every 5 years, or how we want to set it up, right? So that's the first thing. With the hosting, if you have a website that is built on a web host and the hosting got expired, you have up to like 30 days. I mean, some companies probably roughly will go to like 60 or 90 days, right? You have 30 days. Within the 30 days, you can restore it and everything comes back to normal. Now, if you exceed that 30 days, some hosting companies, it depends, they can completely delete everything. So that's why it's good to have a backup practice. When you build a self-hosted based WordPress website, make sure you have a plugin that can actually do monthly backup, and you can do the backup whether it's on your local machine, through your email, through the server, or the what do you call it, the storage services like in a Google Drive, Dropbox, and so forth, right? So the situation, and this is not this is very common. One of the most common things that I see with a lot of small businesses is that the business owner or whoever's in charge within their company or the team, that they fail to understand that owning the domain name and the hosting is very crucial. You need to have a full access to it, right? That's why I highly recommend that every domain name or hosting company has to be owned by you as the client, right? You have to own it 100%, at least have full access to it in case something happens to it, right? It's very, very important. So that's one of the most common scenario. The other thing, uh, your other agency, let's say you hired an agency, a digital agency that built the website and manage everything for you, but they for some reason bought the domain on your behalf, or they bought the hosting on your behalf. So that's a little bit tricky, because now if you want to move somewhere else, you do have to basically ask them to hand it, to you and whatnot. So try to avoid these sort of situation. When it comes to like full ownership, you have to really own everything, not just the domain name or the hosting, but everything from graphic to content. And you have to upload all those to a specific folder or file where you can have access to it, or maybe some of your marketing team or whoever is helping with the company should have some sort of access to it. Okay, so that's an issue in itself. Okay, so make sure that you take care of that. Otherwise, if you lose everything, now you have to start everything from scratch. You have to start everything from scratch completely. Okay, so one of the questions that I got from yesterday is about to talk a little bit about a voice search. So voice search, like your mobile devices where you can talk to Siri or Google Now. Then you also have Alexa, right? You have Alexa, Echo, Google Home. So these are popular devices. I believe last year, or I think in 2019 or 18, I think the percentage was like 13% or maybe 15% of the American household use Google Home and Alexa. So what does that mean for your business? What does that mean for your website? Regina, what's going on? Most offsite developers will release domains and hosting if asked. Yes, most of the well-known agency will do that for you. Not the one who is with the good reputation, good company. Of course, if you ask them, they will definitely release that. But there are some agencies, unfortunately, they don't, right? And in some cases, agencies do that because if the client don't pay, they can definitely close down the website and whatnot. But in my experience, the customers and the prospect that I meet, for some reason, they don't have full access, and they sometimes give them a hard time to transfer it with the fee and whatnot. But you're right. Established, well-known companies don't do that kind of practice. They make it easier for for the client to basically have access to it. But the client himself, my advice is that they also need to practice to have that full access anyway from the beginning, and not necessarily have somebody else have full control. So God forbid, let's say if that company closed, let's say that company went out of business, let's say that company now, people that work there don't want to work anymore. Things can happen, right? So for that, it is a best practice, Regina, to I'm sorry, Ringa, to basically have full access if they are deadbeats. Yeah, you're right. So I'm sorry to pronounce your name, Ringa, right? So yeah, so you're absolutely correct. But it's best. I mean, I recommend every business, even if you have a good agency that bought everything for you, make sure you have access to it, like a full access. Because you never know. Things happen. You never know. I mean, things happen. So that is my advice, because I see this a lot. Like when I when I get new prospect coming to me with a situation that they need help with the development stuff like that. When I ask them, give me the access, they're like, "Oh, we don't have it. Somebody else has it." Now we have to contact that somebody else. So instead of getting into the process of qualifying and getting access to see exactly how we can help this particular company or individual, we end up just running behind the bush probably 2 3 weeks just to get an access. You know what I mean? Walaikum salam, Tosif, how you doing? So does that make sense, Ringa? So that's why it's the best practice that I highly recommend a lot of business. Even myself, I usually don't build any client's site on my own server. I have my own server for different projects, but I highly recommend that they should buy their own domain, and they should buy their own hosting service. And if they want us to maintain it and manage it, then they can pay us monthly to maintain it. But at least they are responsible for that. I usually never try to. I mean, I have very few clients that are under my hosting company, but the majority are not with me. I basically tell them, look, you take care of this, and you are fully responsible. So right here, Sam being doing it for 20 years, awesome, Ringa. That's awesome. Yeah, that's the best thing if you think about it. I mean, you actually make it easier for them to have that full access. The ownership is very important, right? Having that full ownership, especially you are the owner of the business, you need to have that. And this is a very common practice that I see that all the time. I mean, I would say like 8 out of 10 when I meet new prospect, 8 out of 10 had the same exact problem. They don't have access. They don't know what are the logins. Even if they do, you have to contact the hosting. What is it? The digital agency, the web agency, and sometimes they are not in town. They cannot be reached, or they're in a different state. I mean, it just to get that simple task or simple access, we have to go through around the bush, right? Let's see. This website is getting a lot of traffic. How can we check real traffic or it's a bot. So let me see, what is this link? توصيف here, share the link. دليل أفضل المواقع. Let me see. So Tawsif is asking, there's a website right here. It's called 202020.net. Wow, what kind of site is this, man? It's weird. A bunch of ads on this side. Wow, what the heck? Okay, so Tawsif is asking, how can we differentiate if it's a bot or traffic? The only way it's you need to have access to Google Ads. I'm sorry, Google Analytics. If you have access to Google Analytics, then Google Analytics will show you if these traffic, because Google Analytics actually blocks bots traffic. If you have a regular analytical system for, let's say, a WordPress website, that analytical system will pull anything. For example, I was helping this one friend of mine who runs a podcast, and they had a website and we redesigned it, made it look super amazing. But we noticed on the back end they had this tool to basically show you the clicks. So the click shows 10,000 a month, but once we set up the Google Analytics, the clicks were 1,000. So there's a big difference between 10,000 to 1,000. So I found out that the 9,000 click were actually bots. They were not real actual user, right? Because Google basically looks at the user experience when somebody comes to the site and navigate the site, so that the bot sometimes cannot do that, right? Because the bot will look for performance. That's about it. So I would say, excuse me, I would say use Google Analytics. The second option, if you use SEO tool like SEMrush and Ahrefs or any backlinking analysis tool, if you use a backlinking analysis tool, then you can see what kind of links are those. Are these legitimate backlinks? Are these spam links? Farm sites? So you can use a backlink tool, Tawsif. You can also use like the search engine analytical tool to check the backlinks. But when it comes to the actual click from the back end, I think Google Analytics will be the best option. Let me check and see exactly what's the ranking system on this one. I'm going to use my SEMrush. Give me a few minutes. I'll use my SEMrush and see what kind of traffic I'm getting. I'm assuming this is all only in Saudi, right? The traffic is in Saudi. Let's see. Ring, I recommend clients for me to work on their server. Great. I hate having the headache of maintaining tons of servers. It is a lot of headache, Ring, right? But luckily, I have a team that takes care of most of that. I remember back in the day when I used to do it myself. Oh my God, it's just a super headache. But now we have a team that take care of that. In fact, if you build a site on WordPress, I have an awesome friend of mine who started a maintenance service type of thing for WordPress. You can become an affiliate of that company and start offering that to your customer, Ringa, or you can charge whatever you want and pay them the other half, and they can just basically manage most of the stuff out. It's called the WPFixit.com, so check it out. Grin, let's see. Can I buy Bitcoin with XRP Ripple, then sell and buy Ethereum with NFC Teolo? Unfortunately, I don't have an answer to that because I'm not very well versed in Bitcoin. But if you do need some resources, I can ask a couple of my friends, because there's so many Bitcoin information that some of them are shady, so you have to be very careful. So if you do want to get an answer, just connect with me on Facebook. Look up for Yusuf Chowdhury. Just connect with me. Then I'm going to talk to some of my friends that deals with Bitcoin. I gotta make sure that the information they have is legit. Then I'm going to send them your question and see if they can give you the answer. So apologies, Green, for not able to answer your Bitcoin questions. Charles, hey, what's going on, my brother? Good to see you, bro. So Tawsif, let me check. And you said there a lot of traffic. Are you sure? I'm looking at it right here. I'm trying to look at the traffic for this 202020.net. And let's see, how is it ranking? Wow, 600 keywords. So in the US it's 200, but in the Saudi it's a 600 keywords are bringing traffic to it. So let me see. There are 600 keywords. Let's see. What is the traffic? Is it like 100,000 a month? Do you know what's the traffic? So 2020 دليل الموقع. Yeah, this is more like a directory, because it has like a lot of stuff. Is that number one? Like the 2020, of course, that number one. But Dalil al-Mawqa, which means like a phone directory, right? Uh, let's see. For some reason, let me log in here real quick because this thing makes no sense. Connect to this database. I don't know why SEMrush is not able to pull up. It did show me like 628 keywords brought traffic to this 2020.net, but it also shows that maybe there's a close to like 190,000 hits per month. Let me know if it's 250,000 hits per month, because this website has nothing but just bunch of ads for a lot of stuff. Like it's like more like a directory site for a lot of things. Understand? It's just showing hundreds. Yeah, so that's what I thought. So I'm looking here at SEMrush. It says close to like 160, 190,000 per month. So that's pretty cool. Let me show you. So right here, excuse me, 194. There are 600 keywords, but unfortunately, I don't know why my system's not able to pull it up. But mostly, about the brand name. Then of course, Dalil Afdal al Mawaqi, which means it's like a director for the best locations, like online locations. Here's the website, guys. So this is an ad. This is an ad. Are these all ads? A bunch of resources. Man, look at this. Looks like you see sometime an ugly site. This is kind of ugly and has everything on it. But look, 250,000 hits. That means people do come to it. But Tawsi wants to find out, well, this is not even mobile friendly. Wow, that's kind of weird. So Tawsi wants to find out, are these traffic mostly bot or actual people? So Tawsi, if you have access to the Google Analytics, then you can tell whether they are spam or not. I mean, if I do like a backlink analysis on this one, let's see what it pulls up. So let's see. Ringa said, I'm so glad that the website developing biz is not my bread and butter, oversaturated and dominated. You never know, man. Right now, a lot of people want it right now. So you might want to get back into the business because the demand just went up. Looks like somebody crabbed icons. So this one here, man, is like, I don't know. It looks like all ads. If I click on this one, I mean, these are like auction sites. I know Jarir is one of it's like Jarir is like the Barnes and Noble in Saudi. You got Netflix, you got links to different places. So I don't know if these are affiliate links or whatnot. These are newspapers. So you have different like electronics, education, hotels, like what do you call malls, Arabic news, electronic news, right? Social media. So there are 50,000 backlink. There are 50,000 backlinks. So because I think the link that is going out to these sites, right? So there are 50,000 backlinks. So I'm like, wow. Even though there's no content, right? Ringa and Tawsi, there's no content yet. Here's another thing. This thing has no content. All it has is a bunch of links, right? And in a way, it kind of goes against the Google standard, but yet it's ranking. Like it's either bringing traffic here or from here to outside, which is external link, like going outbound link. Look at this one. I mean, this is another example when I say that sometimes look of the site don't matter. What matters is the audience, what they want. So this particular site, that's what they want, right? Some website, yes, you have to build it in a sense with the brand and aesthetic look and whatnot because the audience want something like that, right? So it depends. So this one here, look at that. This is more like a Craigslist, but in a different fashion. So very looks like an old. I want to see how it looks on mobile device though. I'm curious to see how it looks on mobile device. So let's see. So Tawsif, by any chance, do you have access to the analytics? That'd be awesome if you do, then it would be very cool to find out which are actually actual users and which are bot traffic, right? But if SEMrush pulls it up, then I think most of them are good traffic. So there you go. Look how it looks on mobile device. So not good, man. Look at that. Oh my god. Oh my god. What is this? What is this? It sucks, man, on the mobile device. So this website is not mobile friendly. In fact, if this website becomes mobile friendly, and I believe the traffic will double. You know, yeah, it looks like domain parking, but these are all. I know how to read this. This is the radio side. This is the weather services, TV, universities, and this is the interior ministry or the interior ministry, like the governments for Saudi Arabia. Okay, this is a auction for cars called Haraj, and this is for renting. Okay, it's an ad, but these are all like these are newspaper, popular newspaper, Netflix, Udemy. So when you click on them, it will just basically take you to those sites. So it's like a directory of news, directory for hotels, directory for all kinds of stuff, but they put in like a image formats. If I click on this one, Ijar, which is for rent, Ijar.sa, it will take me to rent.sa. This is for real estate. It will show me all the information right here. I can switch it to English as well. Christopher Vasquez, what's going on, my man? So there you go. So this talks about the rent, the real estate. If anybody wants to invest in Saudi, so that's the website right here. Okay, so it's like a directory. So that's why it gets close to 160,000 to like 200,000 hits per month. Okay. The site, yeah. So that's Charles. That's the point. The site sucks, right? But guess what? It does what it's supposed to do for that particular audience. Makes sense. Do you see how these things sometimes matter, right? Yusuf, what mechanic? I can't even read mechanicism. What mechanicism can I use to find consumer and industry trends? I notice most data and research firms charge upward of $1 million for a data report. Well, the question, Mr. Vasquez, what kind of data you're looking for? I mean, if you want to look for trending topics, I mean, you can use Google Trend and YouTube Trend. That's about it. But if you're looking for specific data, what is it? Is it an SEO data, keyword data? You know what I mean? This is for whenever I do an in-depth market analysis. I mean, if you contact the Nielsen Foundation and advertising agency, they have access to some of these specific, like buyers persona and demographic, and yeah, they cost a lot of money, right? But you have to get in touch with the advertising agencies that can actually give you those information, and they cost a lot of money for sure. I usually try to specialize in more of a search engine data, like what kind of keywords the audience are looking for online, what is their online presence on the social channels, how they behave on the website, right? What kind of links are popular within. So those are the data that I look for, right? So, but for your question, I apologize. I don't know the full detail, but when I was doing some consulting for advertising agency that have access to like the Nielsen, the rating system, whatever, and they got data like about demographic, income, and they sell those. I mean, so it's kind of pretty expensive too, but for me, I use ads, I use search engine, I use social media, we use different things to understand the target audience in terms of how they behave on the internet, or what do they look for on the internet, or how do they behave on social. Those kind of data that we're trying to research and find out, so we can, when we run the ad and do the SEO, we can target the right audience. Okay. So the Middle East does not have Google. Yes, they do. Google.com, Google.sa as well. Saudi, they do. Or is that or is it that they're because of censorship? No, they have Google. They search. This thing is ranking in Google too. I mean, if you look at SEMrush, look, even its ranking is showing me the ranking from Google, right, in Saudi. Yeah, that's what the number that I showed you. It's about ranking on Google from Saudi Arabia. Okay, so it works, So Mr. Vasquez said, "Perfect. You're most welcome." So does that make sense, Ringen? So it does work. It even have probably Google.com.sa, like for Saudi Arabia. Like every country has their own Google. Like Canada sometimes they have their own, Australia have their own, but you can also use the typical Google, because when you go to your own Google, search page, you can go to the setting and then switch it to like whichever country you want to search from, that can also show you the result are different in those nation. Okay, so let me know if you all have any more questions. It is 6:22 p.m. Central Time. So yesterday, one of the last question was about the what you call it, the voice search. So the voice search technology is not super new. It actually started back in, I believe, 2012. Yes, 2012. The first time it came on 2012, when you open your browser, your Google browser, you have that microphone icon on the search. That was the first time. And of course, the app, I think the Google Now. Will have fun doing the most thankless job on the planet. Later. Ring. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it for you tuning in. So that's how the voice search came around 2012, and it got advanced and improved, because back then when I was doing a workshop showing small businesses how to utilize the voice search. So when somebody says, look for dentist near me or dentist near me, and of course Google Chrome with the sound comes up and gives you the result. But when I used to change my accent, like, dentist near me, then for some reason the Google voice is not able to identify or figure out what did the heck did I say, right? It was kind of like racist, right? But now it got super sophisticated and advanced. Even if you wake up from your sleep and you say, "Oh, when are you going to dentist?" and it will still figure it out, right? It will be able to find out. But so when this technology came, the voice search. So right now we have Siri, right? We have Alexa, Amazon Alexa. We have Alice, which is Russian. Then you have Google Assistant. Cortana is for Windows-based voice search. You have Google Home and Amazon Echo, and Bixby for Samsung mobile devices. Okay, so the question is, most people ask, like, why does the voice search matter? I mean, by next year, or maybe this year, the majority of the search now, it won't be just going to Google or going to the phone, mobile device and typing. It is going to be the voice, almost probably more than 50%. So that means the result for your business or your website or information about your business going to be through the voice search algorithm, or the voice search SEO, which is a little bit different, right? So that's, on one hand, that's why it's very important, and it's also improving a lot, right? So one of the benefit of the voice search, that it's very fast. I don't have to type. I guess I'm getting lazy, right? And it's very convenient. And now, just now, it's a little bit reliable than going back like in 2012. Okay, and if you look at the statistics, 52% of people use voice on when they drive their car, because they don't use the phone, so they talk to the mobile device and whatnot. Can Google Analytics help me with the market research? Google Analytics can help you with the market research and the demographic of the audience. This is not before, but after. What I mean by that, once you build the website and make it go live and running, then you can see where the traffic is coming from, which devices, which city, which state, right? And what are the popular content. And there's an option, if you enable it for demographic, it will show you the gender and the demographic and the age group. So that kind of information, you can definitely pull it up using the Google Analytics, not before, but after the website goes live. And once you build all the traffic that coming in, you can give it a month or two to see how many traffic you're getting in, Charles. Then after that, you can do the market research. Yes, okay. So going back to on what time and what places that statistically people use voice search. So during when they drive, almost like 50%. When they walk, or do some outdoor activity, that's like 20%. Let's see, when they work, I believe it's like when you watch TV, that's like 7%. When you work, 7%, and everything else from 5 to 2%. Even like taking a shower is like 2%. Almost 3% you're gonna use the phone. It makes sense while you're taking a shower. Okay. So that's what statistically. Now, how can I make my website to be somehow foundable through the voice system, through Alexa or through Google Home? So there's a technique. Not Google did not tell us exactly if you do this, it's going to work, but Search Engine Land and a couple other publications talked about some of step that if you follow, that there is a higher chance that we're going to get it. In fact, one of my client, specifically a surgeon, he was very happy because we did optimize some of the information on his bio page. And now when people talk to Google Home or Alexa looking for a surgeon in a specific niche, they say, surgeon near me or a specific search near me, then luckily his information is coming up. Okay. So what are the steps? The first step is you got to make sure that your website is mobile friendly. That means it is built for mobile device, not just from the look, but the back end has to be mobile friendly. That means it's built on a responsive based design. Okay. The second option is to add an AMP configuration, which stands for accelerated mobile page. I don't actually recommend that anymore. I used to in the beginning when it came out, but I noticed that some of my customers were having issue with Google Ads, and some of them were having issue with how the site looks like on Google, because when you add the AMP, Google basically strips all the aesthetic of your website and make it very simple and plain for content, because the AMP makes your website go faster, but it's mainly meant for content website or content-based website, like a news website, right? So if you're a retail store or e-commerce, I don't think AMP is applicable. I mean, you can turn it on and test it and see what happens. If you don't find any issues, then you can keep it. The option number 3 to make sure that your website comes on these mobile, like Google Home and Alexa and mobile voice devices, is to make sure that you use some type of long tail and question-based keywords. So long tail means 3 to 4 words, okay? Like buying shoes online or buying men's shoe online. That's 3 to 4 words. Question-based, that means your keyword or the page has a question-based keyword. Make sense? So that's what it means. Number 4, add a frequently asked question static page. So you have a frequently asked question page where you can constantly add question and a short snippet answer. This will also help your site to be basically visible on the voice search devices. That's number 4. Number 5, you have to make sure that your website is very fast. So check the speed of the website. Number 6, everything on the website has to be crawlable on the back end. Everything has to be crawlable and easy to be crawled by the Google bots without any issues. So that's number 5. That's number 6. Number 7, if you want to feature some of your meta tags, like the feature snippet, it has to be between like 40 to 50 words. And number 8, you must implement the local SEO listing, which is like Google My Business page, Yelp, and Super Pages, and Hot Frog, and Facebook, and whatnot. So you have to have your business on these places. So the best place to start with that, you can go to moz.com/local and set up your business in like the top 10 local listing site. Number 9, you have to set up something called schema markup. So if you want to understand more, this is something requires a little bit of coding. It's called schema markup. You can go to schema.org, which is SHEMA.org, schema.org, and this will give you a variation of several pages need to have this sort of a schema. If I have a location page, I gotta add a schema tag on the back end. If I'm an author for a blog, I'm gonna have an author schema and so forth. And number 10, you have to utilize your Google Search Console. Okay, make sure you configure the website through Google Search Console. It comes with so many options to index the website and to check the AMP configuration. It can also help you to set up a a data highlighter for every single page on the website, or maybe some particular pages on the website. Okay, so utilize those, and but that's about it. So these are some of the 10 techniques that can help you hopefully to be visible when somebody talk to Google Home or Alexa or even the mobile voice devices for you start to show up. For a therapist website, what kind of a schema tag do you recommend? For the therapist website, it depends. If they have the location, you can have the location schema tag. If they have a blog post, I would recommend some of the author schema tag. And if you want a full assessment, I definitely have to, because schema tag requires a lot of coding. I can pass that website to my technical SEO team, and they can look at it. Then I can tell exactly what other options of the schema tag requires on the website. Because from now, I cannot exactly tell. And some of them it's a code base, so you have to log in on the back end and see which area is missing. So I can have my team look at it and give you an assessment. Okay, these are some of the areas that you need to add the schema tag. In fact, if your clients need help with that, we do a full service just to make sure your website is schema tag friendly. So we can definitely do that for your client, my man. Okay. So, any more questions for today? Let me know if y'all have any more questions. It is 6:32. And Charles, if you want to use beside Google Analytics and the Search Console, you can also utilize services like Hotjar, Crazy Egg, or Lucky Orange. These are the tools that can actually show you it will record the mouse movement of the website visitor to show you exactly what's happening. Because these data are very, very important to understand that your website is doing what it's supposed to do, and also to understand the behavior of your target audience so you can make the adjustment and changes on the site. Right. So I love Hotjar. Crazy Egg is similar to that, and Lucky Orange. And there was another company that I met in South by Southwest, a company from Austria. I forgot the name. What they do something similar, but the cool thing is we can check the recording live, because all the other three companies I mentioned to you, the recording session gets recorded, then you'll see it later. But this one company I met at South by Southwest, I think it's called Chat something. I can see the actual mouse movement in real time and not wait for it to be recorded, which is like really kind of scary and crazy. But let me see if I can remember what is that service. I did give it to I did give that link to some of my team marketing team to look at it and analyze it and see if they like it. So I gotta follow up with that. Was it? I think it was Hot Jar is one. Lucky Orange, I think, is another one, and Crazy Egg. Okay, so those are the tools that can help you to see exactly, and it's especially if you're running ads, if you're running like a Google ads, a Bing ads with a landing page that has a video and call to action and whatnot, and you want to do an A/B test, so you can run it and see how they're behaving. We did this a couple of times with one of the client that was running a campaign for his clients, which were like bunch of I think 15 dental businesses, and he was selling these what do you call it, the dental stuff. I forgot the name, but so they built the landing page and they had a video. And once we plugged in the Hotjar, we noticed that the visitors wasn't even clicking on the video, maybe it wasn't working. So we have to remove the video and add an image and make some tweaks, and now the leads were coming through. So it's very awesome. It's not mainly UX tester. It's mainly to show you if your landing pages are working. It will show you the heat map of the website, so you can say maybe it's combined with a UX tester, but mainly it's not just for UX. It's mainly for like conversion. It's mainly for to show you how the user are behaving. So in a way, you can say user experience, UX factor. You can say that, but it's not only meant for that. You know what I mean? So it's pretty awesome. Especially, I don't know. Do you know any awesome UI UX tools out there? Do you know any? Because all the tools that I found in the UI and UX mostly to show you how to build and create, like the frames. But I haven't seen something like tells me exactly, okay, this is the website, what's missing, like what needs to be changed. I haven't found any tool like that. I have a tool called Atomic Reach that can analyze the content and it will give it a twist in terms of copy and emotion and whatnot. But I haven't seen. I don't know if you know any tool that can just you can drop any website and it will tell you from the user experience point of view what needs to be changed. If you know some, let me know, because I didn't find it. I talked to my team about it. They don't know of any. You know what I mean? So let me know. Let me know if you know any tools like that. Excuse me. Sorry for my rudeness. I'm checking something real quick here. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Which one? What you're talking about? What tools is that? Which one you're asking about? Well, you can develop a tool if it's not in the. Yeah, of course, of course, you can definitely develop a tool. I mean, there's one tool that I use called user testing. Have you seen that one? User testing basically, this is where actual people that go to the website and they give feedback from actual human being, right? Adobe has a tool for UX and UI design software. Balsamic is what we used to do for the frame, like when you design a frame. Because traditionally, when you build a website, the first thing is you get the information to see what the client wants, what's their agenda, what's their, the whole idea. Then you explain to them the buyer's persona, the buyer's journey. Then you make a sketch, right, in a piece of paper. But now you can do it on the website. It's called Balsamic. I thought Balsamic is very popular with a lot of what do you call it, designers. So let me show you Balsamic, mainly for the frame. Yeah, Balsamic. Let me show you. Mainly for the creating of the frame. So this is Balsamic for a lot of web developers out there, or not developer, designers. So basically, you create the frame and send like a sketch frame to your clients on how do you want the site, let's say, to look like. It's like the skeleton of the site, right? So that's what the Balsamic is, right? It's just like, can you do the design like as if you're sketching on a piece of paper, but it's actually a design. Then you say, is this okay? We're gonna have this thing here, we're gonna have the image here, we're gonna have the copy here, good. Then it goes to the designer where they can add the images and whatnot. So that's what Balsamic is for. Now, Adobe, there's a section under the Adobe called Let's XD Together, where teams create the world's experience at a scale powered by the leader in creative tools. Have you checked this one, Charles? This is from Adobe. It's more like an education about design, UX, user experience, user factors, right? That's what is it for. I've been using Adobe Firework for prototyping. Awesome. How was that? Adobe Firework? Adobe is amazing, man. It's an awesome company. They've been in business for a long time, and I love their product. They're very innovative. And recently, they bought Magenta and Mercado. I have one of my business partners that actually works for them, so it's amazing. So yeah, Adobe is amazing. In school we used Balsamic, but I didn't like it. I think that the other alternative for Balsamic, you know what I mean? User testing is one of my favorite tools. This is for, like, let's say some big companies, they want to get some sort of actual feedback from actual people. So you're gonna pay like $500 and have like 5 people, or 2050 to have 5 people to actually look at the website and record and tell exactly how they felt, what they like, what they didn't like. Okay. So, but you have to pay for this. So what you can do, if you're gonna do user testing with a human being, you gotta charge this to your customer. So if you pay user testing 500, charge your clients like 1,000 to 1,500 or even 2,000 to do an actual testing. I've been using it since 2010, but Fireworks was discontinued. I see. Yeah. I have Adobe XD, but I still use Fireworks. How is Adobe XD? Is that much better? Is that much easier than Fireworks? Is Adobe XD much better than the Fireworks, or is it similar to Fireworks? I know there are other what do you call it, other options for Balsamic. I mean, the other alternatives for, so who uses it? Business owners like myself and agencies we use. So some of my team use this for like bigger clients, like, like really big clients, that because they want to see things on a specific format, right? They want to see the wireframing first, then the design. Once the design get approved, then the development, then the functionality, then going live, right? Okay, do we have any more question about search engine, website, outsourcing, link building, social media? Let me know if you'll have any more questions. Today is a Friday. Tawsif, you can animate with Adobe XD, which is a lot better than Fireworks. There you go, Tawsif. There you go, Charles. XD has a learning curve. Firework is like a Photoshop for user experience back in 2020. You got used to the old stuff. You don't want to change. Just like me, I don't want to go into Gutenberg for WordPress. I want to stick with the classic editor, right? So I'm definitely sure you can find a lot of videos. Just go to YouTube and look for Adobe XD Beginner's Guide Tutorial 2020 or 2019. So user experience is very important, man. I know a couple of agencies in California, believe it or not, they were charging like 100 6 figures, like 100,000, 90,000 just to do UX, bro. I'm not kidding. There's some agencies that show me there's some of the project, all they were doing just UX. That's it. Not even the development of the website. These are like, big companies. You know what I mean? So, and there's a demand actually right now for user experience because uh, some businesses start to understand that website should not be just a brochure. A website has to have a purpose because it's like your real estate, right? It has to generate income. It has to generate conversion when the target audience, when the target traffic comes in, it has to convert so the money can be flowing. You know what I mean? So yeah. So look into the. I know a lot of designers. It's very awesome when you have a designer who's also developers who also marketer all combined. Then they can definitely understand the whole spectrum because everyone developer has one sort of mindset, designers have one sort of mindset, then you have a copywriters, then you have strategists. So you combine all of them together, and that's how you make something great, right? Okay, any more questions, please? Let me know if you have any more questions. I'm gonna wait for one more minute. Let's see. I will use XD on VIP clients. Yeah. So how does your process work? Because when I get different client has a different process, right? And of course, how much is spent. So some clients want a full process, like from getting qualified, collecting the information, going back and forth, just on that to kind of hone in and make sure everything's understood. Then we do the wireframing. Then we do the design. When the design gets approved, then we do the building functionality, check the functionalities and whatnot. Then we add the copy, right? Then one more final revision, then we go live. That's a whole big process, and that's why it takes several months to finish building a website, anywhere between 6 months, sometimes even 9 months to a year, right? Depends on the size of the project and the complexity that then takes place on the back end. Let's see, depending on the budget. Yeah, because some clients on the small budget, you can just buy the template for them. If they like the template, just drop in the content. If they have the content, that's even much easier, right? So that can probably take like a month or a few weeks instead of like 3 or 4 months. I think I don't know about you, Charles. What kind of challenges do you face when it comes to requesting content from your client? This is a very common problem that a lot of freelancers complain to me that they build a site for customers, but the client don't give them any content. So what would you do in that situation? In that situation, I would add a content marketing service. For that, you can go to textbroker.com or writeraccess.com and start finding out how much it costs for hiring a US based writers on a specific niche, on a special niche based writing material. Then you double or triple the charge with your customer, and that's it. Then you can at that time you don't have to really, if they don't give you the content, or they don't know how to give the content, then the one that you write it, you have them look at it and just basically have them confirm with the information to be correct, and that's it. Don't make them start changing again because they never give in the first place. Tell them this is the strategy of the copywriting, this is how it's written, but let us know if there are any information that are inaccurate, then we can fix those, right? So if there's a big budget, then they get a thorough process. Yeah, some of my clients are very smart. They already know how it works. They've been working with other agencies, so when they come and I close the deal, they understand the expectation, and we follow those rules. And of course, if the payment is higher too, then of course you have more time to work more and add a lot of team to work on that particular project. That's how the process can be a little bit higher too. You know what I mean? Hire Chris Vasquez. He is a content writer. Okay, there you go. That's awesome. For sure, Chris, man. Mr. Vasquez, if I definitely need you, man, I'll definitely get back to you on any future projects. Okay, So let's see, folks. It is 6:46 p.m. Central Time. Let me know if you'll have any more questions. If they have no content, I contract Chris. That's smart. Good. You contract Chris, and there you go. You good to go. You're taken care of, right? You don't have to worry about it then. Okay, I'm gonna wait 1 more minute, and after that, we'll bounce. All right, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If y'all enjoyed, watching this live streaming, again, do me a favor, invite some of your cool colleagues, tag them, or share this. I would highly appreciate it. And I'll see you all back on Monday. How y'all have an awesome weekend. Bye bye for now.